their work complete, are headed back to the lab.
Testing, 1, 2.
Diane, it's 4:28 a.m.
We should have something for us by now.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 7 of Good News Friday, a weekly video that focuses only on good news happening around our community. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for all of the videos from previous weeks. I promise there's some good ones. Good news for everyone looking to get in shape for summertime. Florida began full phase 1 on Monday, allowing gyms to reopen, along with restaurants and retail shops at 50% capacity. I sure could use some time in the gym after all those quarantine snacks. As we head into a long Memorial Day weekend, it's important to remember the men and women who sacrificed their lives fighting for our nation's freedom. St. Cloud's unique history has allowed us to honor these heroes together in previous Memorial Day ceremonies. Given the circumstances, this year the city will be holding a drive-through remembrance ceremony at Mount Peace Cemetery. The event will be held this Monday, May 25th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Upon arrival at Mount Peace, vehicles will receive an informational card explaining the history of the cemetery and the Memorial Day event. There will be a radio broadcast for the event that participants will be able to tune in on their car radio. It's great to be able to still honor these heroes while also safely social distancing. Each week we interview a local company or organization that goes above and beyond to help spread the good news throughout our community. I'd like to thank the St. Cloud Community Pantry again for talking with me last week about how they are helping our community through this crisis. If you'd like to donate, please visit www.stcloudpantry.com. This week, we have the opportunity to speak with St. Cloud Main Street, an organization that encourages economic development in conjunction with historic preservation in St. Cloud's unique historic district. They have also played a major role in forming and helping local businesses during the COVID-19 crisis. Well, we're here with Paula with St. Cloud Main Street. Paula, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So can you explain a little bit about what St. Cloud Main Street is and what you do here in St. Cloud?
Sure. We're under the National Historic Preservation Bureau, which also comes down to the state level underneath their bureau. We have a state coordinator that's in Tallahassee, so that's who we answer to ultimately. Although we're community-based, so we're not really driven. We have a board of directors. The board of directors are community leaders, and they help make the decision on what the directions are going to be, what our goals are going to be. We all work by what you call a four-point approach, which means you work on promotions, economic development, organization, and design work. And so they all kind of have their different little ballywigs that they work on, and they make those decisions independently. So it's kind of a process, and those are the things we do. It's globally economic development with historic preservation as kind of the key to all of it. So we put a lot of significance on historic preservation.
Okay. Well, I've seen you through the COVID-19 pandemic and economic crisis. You've been very active on Facebook trying to help businesses and help people, remind people what's open downtown in our historic district here. So can you explain a little bit about how this has affected our city and your organization during this time of economic crisis?
Well, we're pretty much like everybody else across the nation right now. Everybody's been affected in one way or the other. Organizations like us are affected because for the same reason our businesses can't do business, then they can't, support us at the time, and it certainly isn't the top of mind at that particular moment. So things like our Smoke and Blues event that we had scheduled for the first weekend in May obviously was canceled. Now since then we have made the decision that we will do the event, but it will be on September 12th. So that is our fundraiser for us. It's a community event, but it's one of our major fundraisers. And so if we didn't do that at all, obviously that hurts us economically. It probably will still have an effect just because you don't know what the participation will be at this time. But we were far enough into it, we felt like, if it's reasonably safe during that time, we should be able to do it. So we've rescheduled it. And obviously all kinds of things. People are just thinking about trying to get their own revenues in, and so, we're not the top priority. So we have to think about those kinds of things and kind of shift gears as to, you know, are there grants out there available for us just like everybody else, although we're a little bit different because we're nonprofit. Obviously, our businesses have been hugely affected. We have about 3 right now who are already gone, but we've had some that have been able to respond very quickly and made adjustments to either online purchasing, and the restaurants, obviously, they did a great job of trying to transition on a short-term basis, and some of them are holding their own. And I've seen a lot of people that have been very supportive, wanting to make sure that their local businesses, you know, survive, and so they've been out there trying to eat, even though it's a challenge to do that when you're supposed to be home.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of events, some good news is there's an event coming up in June. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we've been a little challenged because we were trying to figure out what some of the best approaches for us would be to assist our merchants, because we knew coming out of this, there's going to be a couple of things. You know, they're going to be challenged of what they can do, how do you get the word out, and then making the community feel comfortable coming out. So we have put an event together. We found some funds through a grant that we previously had that they shifted the funds over and let us use it for a different purpose. And I also had a birthday during this shutdown. So
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So during that, I did a fundraiser to promote that event as well. So we've raised about $5,200 to be able to promote this particular event and put some things together. So on June 20th, it's called We Missed You St. Cloud 2020 Rewind. And basically the theme will be for our businesses, all the holidays that took place and the things that everybody missed during that time period, we'll be able to kind of celebrate in a little bit different way. So everybody is welcome to come down. We're going to have at 10 o'clock that day a ribbon cutting grand reopening at City Hall, and the Chamber is going to kind of spearhead that part of it with us. And we'll open up everything, and then the businesses that day will be able to have other people come from the community to support them, and different blocks and different sections will have a different holiday that they'll be promoting. There'll be some giveaways here and there, and we're doing balloons for the businesses so they can put coupons or giveaways or whatever in them, so people will be able to pop a balloon and maybe get something and help them come back downtown later. The merchants are all being great about, you know, all of the precautions. They will be sending some of that to us to let us know specifically some of the things, so we can make sure everybody knows that going forward. So we'll work towards making people feel comfortable and do some social distancing, whatever that looks like. We're still working on that part of it.
Right.
So we've got to figure out how we want to set up some of the tents that will be on Ninth Street, because some businesses will come down, and then we'll make people feel comfortable about that. But if you miss St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Cinco de Mayo, your birthday, and anniversary, graduation, all of those will be celebrated that day. So,
Yeah, well, that sounds like a lot of fun. We look forward to being there.
yeah, I hope everybody comes down, so everybody
Absolutely.
needs it. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned St. Cloud Main Street. One of the major aspects of it is historic preservation. Can you talk a little bit about some of the historic sites in St. Cloud? I see that there's some work being done in the hotel, which is exciting. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we stay pretty connected in the historic preservation side of it. For those who don't know, we had a subcommittee we put together to bring the historic ordinance forward, and then, you know, we worked with the city toward the end, and the city council voted to reinstate a historic ordinance and a historic district. So we have those in place. Now there's a historic preservation board through the city. It's a separate board that people can go in front of if there are significant buildings that need, you know, some additional input on. So that happens as well. But our main initiatives beyond getting that done is we do the state historic markers, and we now have 6. During all of this, we had the Fisk Funeral Home is the next marker that's been approved. We're now waiting for it to come in because, like everything else, they were shut down. And so whenever they get back up and going and they get caught up, we'll have that marker, and at some point we'll do an unveiling and people will be invited to that. So we keep adding to that. In addition, we support other initiatives like the Soldier City Historic Chapter. We did an application for the Mount Peace Cemetery. And so that marker has come in. It actually is here. It was approved, and there'll be an unveiling for that in the near future. We'll let everybody know about. So that's happening. We recently had National Registry. Some people may not know that, but on the National Registry that protects locations, we added the VFW to that. So it's now on the National Registry. We've worked with the Women's Club for the Heritage Museum, the Veterans Memorial Library. That application has been submitted. The committee actually meets next week, and they will determine whether or not that building will be on the National Registry. So a couple other things we're doing is, some people may not know that there's an inventory of historic buildings in St. Cloud. The last one was done in 1993. And so we wrote a grant with the city a year ago, because the grants always wait a year. If you get one, it's a year before you get the funding. And so this year we've been working on updating that inventory, which is really significant because it brings anything that wasn't there in 1993 forward. It updates all of the other structures, and then that also helps us go to the state to work on getting a National Registry nomination for our whole historic district. So we'll be writing a grant pretty soon. Hopefully we'll get that for next year, and then we'll be able to move forward on getting our whole historic district on the National Registry, which then turns into a big thing. And people who have buildings in that area, there will be tax credits and grants and other things available because of that. So
that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, finally, we've been through some tough times here in St. Cloud. Would you like to give any words of encouragement to our city moving forward?
Well, I think everybody just has to stay moving the way we have been. I will tell you, the one thing I found incredibly inspiring through all of this, as challenging as it's been, and I know everybody's, there's stress, anxiety, everybody's uncertain, they don't really know what to do, and I think some of that's going to continue, and I just think we all have to stay kind of strong and determined. And in our community, I have seen just an outpouring of people being very supportive of one another, and people that have been willing to come to our restaurants. I really have seen people, including my household, is like, well, where can we eat today so that we can support another local restaurant? And I've seen a lot of that. And people going to our restaurants to even help other people. They will go give them money so that they can provide food for somebody else, and that's been happening across the board.
Right.
So I think there's just really been some very inspiring things that have come out of it, and I think our community, that's how they are. They kind of have a giving nature and want to be supportive. So based on that, I think everybody is going to be just fine. We just have to, persevere and think through what we're doing and keep doing the things we do, and I think it'll be good.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for talking with us today, and I really appreciate everything you do for our community.
Well, thanks, Colby. We appreciate you asking us.
Thanks. Thank you to St. Cloud Main Street for being the good news in our community this week. Well, that's all for now. As we go into Memorial Day weekend, I would like to give a personal thank you to all the brave men and women in the military who make the ultimate risk defending our freedom. Thank you all so much. Have a great weekend, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Work complete. Are headed back to the lab. Testing. 1, 2.
Diane, it is 4:28 a.m.
You should have something for us, Mike.